and flavor. Now your railroad's got to run on time. Every man had a watch. The watch had to work right. If watches weren't set and calibrated properly, there could be accidents on a railroad. Here we have Olson Watch Repair. And there's an engineer. He brought his watch in to get it fixed. While he's waiting, he found a newspaper to read. Now, back in the olden days that I remember, businesses and homes burned coal to heat the houses. Here you have a coal chute at the base of the building here, and the truck backs up, the chute's hooked up, and they load coal down into the coal bin. And yeah, this is pretty much Depression area, a lot of trash around the place. Newspapers in the street, rolled up on the sidewalk. Oh, this is the early 50s, so your gas stations were doing a booming business, but all the traveling people started doing. Here we have some tracks in the street. We got those gondola cars over to the junkyard, load up some scrap. Now, this roof is made out of Campbell shingles, but it did something different to it. You can see it looks kind of ragged looking. Well, I cut some of the shingles off a little shorter than the rest. Then you go ahead and you learn something from George Sellis about tin roofs and ripped up roofing. Adds a little character to the build. I thought I'd try my hand at making a masonry building. All these stones were made up one by one on the master, and then a rubber mold was made of it to cast the wall. Like I said, the next video we can talk about some of this stuff. Notice the junk on the roof, the different kinds of roofing on that building, which is one of my favorites. We call this 6th Street. A lot of action here in this part of town. Focus of attention here is a building we call Taxi Pete. He's a guy from back home, run a taxi service. In the alley with all the junk. And the street itself, it has all those expansion joints carved in there. That's my concrete pavement material, number 1290. Then you have manhole covers and storm sewers on the street. Put them along the curb so the water can flow in from the storms. And a mailbox and other junk along the street. You also have to have some repair work done to that street with hot tar. Cover up those cracks to keep the water from running in. And on this side of the street we just have some vacant land with some of my scenery materials. And then we come to an intersection here with railroad crossbucks. When I hold a button, the lights flash. This is a section of old Route 66 going through Galton, New Mexico. Lots of activity down here by the tracks. Another gas station and a bus stop with all the people there waiting to catch the bus and all the junk and accessories to go with it. Next to the gas station is McCooch Auto. They rebuild transmissions. You know those old dual coupling turbo hydramatics? They always throw junk over to the side, and then the city bothered to make them build a fence to hide most of it. Then we had a sewer main break here in town. They ripped that old rusty pipe out. They hauled in a new one next to it, and they're getting ready to lay it in a ditch. Now notice that dirt pile. They dug up that high desert soil that I sell, number 107-3. Well, they paved the street right over it, so when they dig up the road, you see chunks of that asphalt thrown scattered about on top of the dirt pile. Then you have to have a sign to protect the closure of the street, and our trusty copter to make sure everybody obeys the law. One of these days I'll get this mill diorama built into a scene. We can talk about some of the details here. This would be a good time to talk about those trees. They're homemade. And I use moss, natural moss to make them, and a few other techniques with snips of jute twine colored green. You have a dead tree here with snips of jute twine. They're colored brown. We've got a coal bin up there, up at trackside, with a ragtag roof on it too. And a chute that runs all the way down to the lower coal bin. Now move those bags out of the way, you can see it a little bit better. So the coal comes down the chute into the lower coal bin to fire up the boiler. This This is a view of my industrial area. I have a lot of very old vintage buildings from the hobby. Remember East Sideham Company? Well, they made these mat board buildings. You can do a lot of work to improve them and start making them look real. Then down the line is the Citrus Exchange, and then the Swift Meatpacking Company. It's getting late in the day. We better get a glimpse of our Santa Fe station, which is very reminiscent of what still stands in Winslow today. And a little Fred Harvey lunchroom. Trackside, they're always trackside. They were built before automobiles were invented. And behind all this we have a 14-stall roundhouse with operating doors, and a turntable, a crane, and service for the steam engines and diesel engines, water, coal, sand. And that tipple operates, by the way. I can load coal into that tender. And some yard floodlights. Way over here is an ash pit for the steamers that dump their fire. We've got a road unit here ready to leave. It's what pulls the coal train. It's what you call my hot rod F7 A and B unit. Someone even got some graffiti on that guy. And then I've built up just about every cable kit that they make. Like this big cannery building, the boat shop, the wharf, Norm's Landing, and all the buildings that go with it. Just no place to put them right now. Then I decided to totally protect the engine service facility with plexiglass panels. That'll allow me to get an upper level. Right now it's just a big storage area for all those other Campbell kits. One of these days. Have you ever been inside a Campbell's community church? Well, one time I took this camera and I stuck it inside and held it up to the light so you could see those stained glass windows. They're made from real film. Yeah, when the hard part is over, like getting all these kits put together, I really want you to get a move on and get them into a finished scene. Here's the church from the outside. Well, I hope you enjoyed, especially learned something from this video. I never thought it would take a whole DVD just to show a hump yard, but there's an awful lot to the hobby. We'll cover some of these other aspects in further DVDs. Thank you very much.